Hi, Digangana.
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
All right, great. So now everybody, you can see Digangana, who's right here. So for everybody, this is more of a conversation that Digangana and I are going to have with each other. So it will sound like an interview that we, do for each other apparently. So let me introduce the Digangana first, and then probably Digangana will introduce me if that's how we're planning it. Okay. And then there'll be a series of questions. And of course, if you have questions, you can also put them in the chat and we'll take them. So Digangana is a communications professional. She was born in Kolkata and right now is in Mysore with her husband and 2 kids and many, many plant babies, as we keep seeing on her Instagram feed as well. She is head of communications for Echo Network, and I think during the course of this conversation, Digangana might want to talk about her work a bit more. But more importantly for us, the reason that we believe that Digangana is a true friend of Guinea's Planet is because she dreams of an inclusive world where humanity and empathy will be the only truth. And she's an active proponent on matters related to adoption in India and sustainable living, which is why Digangana is here today. Because, like I said, we're celebrating 10 days of Earth Day, and we are bringing in friends and people who we truly believe are, connected with the cause in some way or the other. All right. Welcome, Digangana, formally again after a
Thank
long
you so
time.
much. Is my audio okay? I'm sorry. I think my
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
it's completely
Okay.
fine.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Firstly, so thank you. I'm like really. I feel very honored. I think is the word that is coming to my mind. But Shweta, I think I really look up to you. You know that I have told you many times before, and I love Guinea's Planet. Surely because the work that you guys are doing, the space where you are, is something that the world needs right now, right? So while I'm saying that, I think yes, I'll take this opportunity to introduce Shweta to people who don't know her. I think everybody knows her. So Shweta is building a world, like I said, where being different is okay, right? And she's a social entrepreneur and a social work professional with a PhD in social work in resilience and has 2 decades of work experience in the field of mental health, right? Shweta is co-founder of Guinea's Planet, a social enterprise that spreads empathy, respect for diversity, spirit of inquiry, and inclusive practices. And going forward, I'm sure that, Shweta, you will talk a lot more of who Guinea is and what she stands for us, right? So, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Digangana. So, for benefit of everybody, here is Guinea, and Guinea says hi. Of course, Guinea is 8 years old this year, but this is a 4-year-old Guinea, and she says hi to you. So let's get to it directly, Digangana. We are here to talk about, how do we all invest in planet Earth, in making it a better place. And there are 2 ways in which we're going to talk about it. One is, what is it that we can do as individuals, and
Right.
then later on, like, what is it that we can do as, as organizations like Guinea's Planet and like other organizations. So first, I think I'll wait to hear from you because you do follow a lot of sustainable lifestyle practices. And what would you like to share from your side on that?
So I think how I would like to start is yes, Earth Day was here, and I'm sure that with social media, all of us have heard a lot, right? There are so many people who are talking about it. There are so many people who are talking about the gloom, doom, reality, and everything, right? So I think today let's just pick this very important thing that both of us believe in, Shweta, in an individual and an organization perspective, which is empathy, right? The importance of empathy towards people and towards the planet, right? So I think if while I was making my notes for this, right, I think the first thing that came to my mind is like, what do we like? If anybody asks me that, what do you mean by empathy to the world? Like, what does that even mean? We know that, okay, being kind to others, being kind to our friends, to family, to people around us, that we have heard about, right? But what does empathy towards the world means, right? And I think
Hmm.
I'll instead of saying it in so many words, I will just take one small action, right? So we all know that, as mothers, okay, and I'm a mother of two, and that, I think that that example comes very naturally to me. Is being a mother, we are always very, very conscious. We put in a lot of effort, right? And it also comes to us very naturally, the thought of, when my baby is growing up, what are the milestones that my baby will achieve, right?
Hmm.
That's something that we are doing from a place of love, from a place of kindness, from a place little bit of also empathy, right? And we are more focused about, okay, how he or she is going to grow up and be, right? Now, we, instead of thinking that, okay, when my baby will grow up and finish or do his cursive or her cursive writing, practice it, the day when we will know that, or we will believe, or we will have this thought in our mind that, okay, our babies need to do composting before cursive writing, that is the day when we'll truly be empathetic to the earth, because we are selflessly and without any prior, without the Instagram saying us to compose, that is something that will come naturally to us, and that
Right.
is what empathy to the world means, where we are not putting that extra effort. There's no, oh, acha, mujhe karna hai, like, there's no conscious thing. It's a behavior change that is so ingrained in us that we are, by default, we are just doing it, okay, because we believe
Hmm.
it, right? And that is the
Right.
world I would like to wake up to 10 years or 15 years from now, and can truly say that, okay, we are empathetic to our environment, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's
So
how I think I would like.
in this scenario, Digangana, I mean, considering that we do a lot of training on empathy, and what we do realize, obviously, is that when it comes to empathic practice, whether being empathetic towards people or whether it's planet, this stage that you believe that we all need to reach, where it will become naturally, it is not an easy place to reach.
Oh,
It
no,
comes with
not
a
at all.
lot of everyday practice, because empathy, even towards people and towards planet, does not come naturally to all of us, no matter what we all think. It requires a lot of conscious thinking, conscious actions, and a lot of reminders to ourselves to be able to actually practice this in true sense. So in this scenario, Digangna, what is it, I mean, that you would like to share with people? I know your followers would know what is it that you're doing, but I think there are also other people here, and maybe it will be useful for us to list those things down, which I believe, I mean, social media must have told everybody, but
Exactly. Yeah, I really don't
yeah.
want to repeat those things, but I think, Shweta, I understand what you're saying, like a starting
Yeah.
point, right? So
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
the best starting point, right,
Hmm.
today. Like, if someone is listening to this, and if we are lucky enough that out of how many of you are here, if one person turns to like
Hmm.
listening to this, I
Right.
think
Right.
one thing that we can start off is being mindful. We have
Right.
to be mindful of our actions. We have to
Hmm.
take responsibility of our actions. Okay. So, I say something like to my friends or to people, my family, always that, say, suppose you woke up today, just tomorrow, say you wake up in the morning. Okay.
Hmm.
Just be mindful of how many times you're using your dustbin. How many times you're throwing anything in the dustbin, be it your milk packets, be it your food waste, be it your peels, your fruit peels, everything, anything and everything, be it that Swiggy thing that you order. Just be mindful of how many times you're, maybe if need be, just make a list and say, okay, 10 times I've used or 12 times I've
Hmm.
used. Can the next day, okay, you truly be responsible and say that, okay, I will cut this into half. How will that happen? Easy. You take your fruit peels and you compost. You don't throw them, right? You take your milk packets and you put for recycling.
Hmm.
You don't throw them. Again, question is, what will happen? Any which ways they'll get, recycled by the people who are taking it.
Hmm.
No, that is not going to happen. It's going to go and end up in a landfill. And this entire notion that, oh, food is going to be composting on its own does not happen. The moment it reaches landfill, it emits gases and it emits chemicals which are very, very harmful for us, which goes into our food and our water and our soil, and in turn, it's coming back into our tummy. Okay, so this entire chain, this entire thing, I think the first thing, if you ask me, Shweta, we have to be mindful. it's only when we take responsibility for action, we can start doing the next things, which is carry your own, cutlery, and all these are things that will automatically then kind of, right?
Right.
So that is
Right.
something that
I think this point that, what action can we take as individuals is something that I believe each of us needs to truly believe in, because, so last year we were having this conversation with people who joined us as interns, and we were talking about sustainability at that point of time, because we touch upon all the aspects. So this would always anyway come in. And one of the persons felt that, but majority of the pollution is because of the industries. So industries are the major pollutants, then why should we focus so much on individual actions? Because anyway, that's barely going to put a dent in. But what do you have to say to it, Digangana?
Oh, I mean, if only I had a dime for every time people would say, but I'm just one person, like one straw, one milk packet, one small plastic cup. Then I think I'll be very rich, Shweta. I really would be, okay, by now. So this one, I know I'm maybe sounding a little repetitive here, but I'm just trying to really, pass this on. This is the behavior change. This is what this one person will slowly become 10 and then 20 and then 25, and that's how movements start, right? This is a movement. Right. This is, let's be very, very careful, cognizant of one thing, that what we are doing here is a movement for what? To save our future generation, right? It's only if we are mindful and we kind of don't wreck the planet more than it's already wrecked, our future generation will have hope of having clean water, clean air, clean soil, and everything that they need to survive, right? And for that, like you said, that, how do we start it? We have to start from where, like you are sitting on your couch and I'm sitting on my floor. We have to start from here. We have to say, okay, and I'm not saying that just start tomorrow and be completely sustainable. It's not that. It's a lifestyle. It takes time. It took me almost 2.5 years to reach where I am, and I am not even close. I'm not even close to the 100% mark. I'm maybe 35. I would give myself a 35. I still don't do a lot of things that I should, but at least I sleep at night knowing that I'm doing how much ever I can, and I will move on. I'm not stopping today, right? This that you are doing, that I'm doing today, sitting, talking to people, right? That's also something. Awareness, and that as part of Guinea's Planet, how important awareness on diversity, I'm sure had been. So that's a journey that even I'm sure you will agree.
Right. So let's do this one fun thing right now, which could also be very, very distressing for us, which is, let's close a fist and let's open one finger for each thing that you say is a sustainability practice. So all our audience that's there right now, and you and I, if you can close the fist and you say 5 points, and we will open it, or say 10 points. Maybe I will not be able to open it. And let's see how many. Let's see where do we reach. For each sustainability practice that Digangana says to us, we're going to open that finger and see whether we are able to follow it. And I am going to be honest, obviously, and I hope all of you.
If the fist remains a fist, it's still okay. You know why? Because at least that person is here listening to us today, which means that somewhere in the mind, he or she is willing to kind of take a step, right? And which is absolutely fine. A fist also can start a movement, right? So so the first thing, and the most easy, that's why I say it's the first thing. The most easiest thing is carry your own bag, cutlery, as much as you can, okay? So your own bag, your straw, your cutlery, whatever you can, how much ever. Okay? That's
most of the time.
That'll do.
Yeah.
Second is, again, it's very easy. It's just a little bias in people's mind. It's difficult. Start composting. The amount of, and it's okay, Shweta, you will start after this.
So we've tried it off and on, but not a consistent practice. Yeah.
No, but it's a two-way thing, right? It's obviously helping the planet, because landfill, let me tell you, is a real problem. Let us not stay under any cave. Let us not close our eyes to this. It is a real problem, especially for a country like India, where population is high, right? We can't deny it.
And metro cities have mountains of garbage, and because we live in Delhi, we have mountains of garbage surrounding us from all the sides on each corner.
I was in my hometown, Calcutta, couple of months back, and we were crossing from airport to our house, and there's this full trash mountain, and my 6.5-year-old, so he's like, Mama, hill, Mama, hill. I said, no, it's not a hill, it's a trash hill. But I was really very, very, like hopeful by his reaction. He's like, Mama, but you know what, this trash hill will come down because we are not creating so much trash anymore. And that's where we have to reach. These guys at 6 years, 5 years, 4 years are more cognizant of the place or the space they are in than we are, right?
Yeah.
So coming back to number 2 is this. Third, I'm trying to go with the easy ones actually. Maybe try growing something, like growing our own herbs. Let's start with herbs. Dhania, pudina, whatever. Why? You will say why. How is that? Like, we are just buying things. Imagine where your dhania is coming from. Okay? It is coming through a truck or a train or bus, whatever. There's carbon emission. You can at least save little bit of it if you're growing something in your backyard. Kuch bhi. Kitchen garden. If you don't have a backyard, it's fine. Balcony mein 5 pot laga lo. Pudina, dhania, tomato. Easy ones. Okay? We can do that. Simple. Right? Third down. 4, little difficult, I'll go, okay? But make your own cleaners at home. Again, I cannot tell you, and I hope I would share the stats, but I didn't want to share the stats over here because, again, I don't want to make this a gloom and doom kind of a conversation. This is a conversation of hope with you, with me. It's always a conversation of hope, and I don't want to, kind of ruin that. So that's why I'm saying the amount of chemicals that goes out from each of our house, right, in the form of laundry cleaners, bathroom cleaners, utensil cleaners, are very, very, very harmful, right? I hope everybody's hand is not paining. I'm talking too much, so I'll just make it short.
Yeah, I'm still at 2.
That's right.
I'll add my own 3 points later in case my hand does not open. So it's very simple, very, very simple thing that, if we can do by just using some citrus pills, jaggery water, create our own cleaners, right? I think that will also be a very, very impactful change that we can bring about at home, right? And I would say the 5th point being mindful, like I have said, but consumption. Let us be a little mindful about the next dress that we buy, or the shoe that we buy, or the bag that we buy. Can we ask ourselves maybe 5 times before buying that, do we really need it? Can we kind of make do without it, right? Or is there something that we can replace it with? Okay, so these are the 5 things that I would say are very easy. You can start away. I'm here to help. Please reach out. I will be more than happy to kind of help anybody who comes to me with these things. So these are, 3 very good, Shweta. 3 out of 5. I'll add the 4th one. So this is a shift that I made like 2.5 years ago, where I shifted to so shampoo bars and soap basically instead of shampoo bottles. So that's a big shift that I made a few years ago, and also shifted from body wash to again soap. So can I count this as 5, or yeah, pura soap ka ek hi category hai?
The other easy one, I know it's going 6, but some people might be able to relate to this, is buying online, right? Can we think of, instead of, I know it's very convenient to just get that Instamart and Big Bazaar and Star Bazaar and just do it, right? Can we maybe make a list of it a little bit, 5, 6 things, go to our Kirana store and buy it from there? What is happening? Instead of one person coming on a scooty, carbon emission, okay, to your house to give it, right? Secondly, the packaging, the entire packaging. No matter how much these guys try to greenwash us and say, oh, this is decompostable plastic and this is, it's not. There's a lot of waste that comes with it, okay? So like I said, like from tomorrow, if you just wake up and say, does cheese ke jagah, I'll only throw 5 things in the dustbin. See the amount of change that's going to happen to you, and the impact that you will create as one human being.
Right. Okay, so we have a question from Shahana. She's asking if you can share alternatives that can be used for cleaning purposes.
Yes, the alternative is bioenzyme. Shahana, if you make it at home. So we all know Rita. Rita is something that our grandmothers used to use a lot. Hum sabne dekha hai. Growing up, we have all seen those round, small, dry balls, right, which used to be used by our grandmoms. who were much more sustainable than we are. Okay, let me also put that out while we are talking, and empathetic. So we can use Rita and bioenzyme, right, which can, seriously, I'm telling you, it can take away all dirt, grime, everything from your food utensils, and can even clean your bathroom. Okay, you can make batches of it and keep, so that it's not like a regular thing. Okay, so some mindful practices for you to
Right.
do with your kids. Do it with your kids. That's more fun, right? I mean, that will be like including them in the whole process, teaching them about the whole thing, right? So that will that's also another activity if you are a parent you can do, right?
Right. Great. Thanks. Thanks, Digangana. So I hope electricity stays with me because there is Andhi and Barish happening outside.
Ah,
Let's move to part of the conversation, and then we'll keep adding more, I think, if more questions come in. As to what we believe that, okay, obviously my phone does not want me to be seen by people. Yeah, it's taking everybody to the
your
other
phone is
side
like too
again and
much.
again. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not liking this long live stream right now. It's too much. I think too much consumption of energy and internet.
Energy.
So, what is it that we believe that organizations can do? And we're going to keep it very simple because we're not talking about large scale policy changes right now here, because I don't think those people are even here in this conversation happening. But then there are things that even as employees and as team leads or as people in different organizations, the things that we can make sure that they get done in our offices at small scale and then at policy level as well. If we can push for them. So I'm going to share a few points, Digangana, and if you can also share more, if possible. So, for example, few things that I believe that we definitely want to focus on is one, a responsible. So, what we call them responsible business practices. So, which means that looking at if you're a product focused organization, then where is your product coming from? Where is it being sourced from? Who's making it, and in what conditions? And what are they being paid for it? So for us, empathy for people and planet, they have to go hand in hand, and you have to see where is it being made and how is it being made and by who. And that's something that we also focus on for our core products at Guinness Planet as well. Yeah. So after that, we looked at we definitely focus on how are we following the practices that you suggested that we need to do in our.
Yes.
Okay.
Can't hear you again.
Sorry. Yeah, my mic is getting off. So how do we follow them at office? So whether it's about carrying your own lunch or your own water bottles, and to every workplace that you go, or even to any location where we go and do our workshops. So how do we carry our own stuff as far as possible? So that's another thing. Third is, of course, about that's for bigger offices. I believe that carpooling, using public transport. If you're traveling to a far distance, and if transport situation is such that you can use it, that's good. In Delhi, I think what we have started doing is also this practice, which I believe is happening in other places also. So rather than making people come to like one location to work together, we started distributing the location. So wherever we are, the office is closer to wherever we are. So going for co-working spaces rather than necessarily only making people come to one place. Yeah. That's one practice that we're shifting.
Like I said, again, it all goes back to that being mindful thing, right? Yeah. It's only because people are thinking and taking it in their conscience to kind of do it, right? And this is the behavior change. So even companies at some level have to change, their logistics, their infrastructure to support the sustainable growth, right? So
Right. So anything else that you want to add to this?
I think I would like to add one thing, that when you started the question and you were talking about policy and policy makers. Yes, we don't have any. Unfortunately, we don't have any policy makers listening to us yet, right? I mean, I'm sure that once we raise voices more, people will hear. Not today. However, we are consumers, right? Everybody listening to this conversation is a consumer, right? As a consumer, if I consciously stop buying something, okay, and I stop it for the same reason, right? If it's plastic straws, that's the thing that came to my mind. Plastic straws, right? if I stop buying it, what's going to happen? It's a dominoes effect that happens, and everybody knows that it's a value chain, right? A supply and a demand. If I stop buying, the demand goes down, the supply will go down.
Yeah.
It is bound to happen. So we should not just sit saying, oh no, nothing's going to happen because what the policy makers here, they are like in their own. No, everybody is affected by our decision again, right? So let's start taking them like plastic, like all this cutlery that comes when we order food, unnecessary. घर पे नहीं है क्या किसी का चम्मच और fork? होता है ना? But then why do you send it, right? So at some level there should be some kind of, like policies saying that, okay, these are the things that should have to be stopped using. If and anybody found using them will be penalized.
But yeah, this thing that, how the way we create demand as consumers, how that influences supply as well, so the more we reject certain kind of things, the fewer those things are likely to come back into the market, and the more we demand something more that's going to be healthy and useful for the planet as well. So I think it's also about what we demand more. And of course, some of these things may also increase cost. I think that's a huge factor also here. Then when it comes to, like for example, for us, to make everything sustainable, whether it's sustainable packaging, whether it's where it's sourced from, it's ultimately increasing the cost of each product that we sell. And it's still reasonably priced by many standards. But that's always a challenge for businesses and enterprises like us. And we know that we are getting into the challenge very, very consciously, So we are fine, but we hope that people in the world, people in the world also understand that there are reasons that are going to increase the cost. These are these conscious choices that make that happen.
But again, for you also it's the same, right, Shweta? See, right now the cost is more because only 10 conscious manufacturers like you are taking these things. Tomorrow, if 100 manufacturers become more conscious, immediately that price is going to drop because from 10, now 100 people will buy those. So it is kind of, if you see, it's the same chain that we have, and everything starts with us being mindful. Everything starts with us being thinking before we consume, and not just because it's available, we just go and grab it right from the shelf. So just think before you pick anything. Just like we will think before we put anything in our mouth, right? So think before you put anything in the dustbin, because that's the mouth of the earth. That's the landfill, right? It's going into the earth. So that's empathy again. We are just coming back to it. That's empathy. Like put yourself in Earth's shoe and see that, okay, this kachra that you're throwing everywhere. Imagine what is happening, the amount of methane gas that's being, made.
Right. So thank you so much for this whole conversation, Digangana. It was great catching up with you.
I just close, of course, with the request to follow Guinea's planet, because again, like the kind of work that you guys are doing is what the world needs right now. And I would also maybe one thing that Shweta and I wanted to leave everyone with is a call to action, right? So if you are listening to us today, if you have taken this time to listen to us today, it's an earnest request. From tomorrow, let's just do one thing. Let's all just pick one thing that we want to do, right? And maybe do that.